Mountain, Bathurst, Hell Corner, Forest Elbow, the Cutting, all words describing one of the toughest tracks in the world. CRN's coverage of the CSRL GT3 series brought to you here live from Australia, and I think that the chant that these drivers are going to be chanting is Aussie, 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 oi, 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 but I think going through the mountain section could be ouch, ouch, ouch instead if you're not paying attention. And I mean, this track is really Jekyll and Hyde. It is one track that very easy, very simple, a couple of 90-degree corners, a little chicane, nothing too major. That's what half the track is. The other half of the track is basically a quick little stint at Nürburgring and a cattle chute. It is very tough, very tight. Blind corners when you're coming around there. If somebody spins in front of you, there's a good chance that they will be Austin powered in the middle of the track and be a bottleneck that you won't be able to get through if you can see them quick enough to slow down and stop, let alone everybody behind you stopping as well. So this thing could ruin the chances of some people's championship hopes if you're not getting a good qualifying spot, which these drivers are out there doing right now, getting some qualifying in. Very, very important here tonight. You want to be up the mountain and out of the mountain as quick as possible to get this thing underway. You don't want to be hanging out and waiting for everybody to kind of tiptoe their way through on that first lap. Earl Heinwork joined in the booth tonight with Joe Sullivan. Joe, this is an easy track until you get to turn number 2.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a road course, and then you go through the blender. So it's going to be interesting to see these guys how they can get through the blender part of the track here tonight, or I should say this morning, as the time of day here is 8 o'clock in the morning. And like we talked about last week, between Colin and Craig, it's going to be who gets the top time here and who can get up through that mountain first, because you want to be that first one up there. You don't want to be behind 3, 4, 5 cars, because if one of them has a mistake, you're just pretty much along for the ride at that point. Hope you can get through. And with this track temperature real low, the air temperature real low, they're going to be real cold tires for these first couple laps. So I think if anything happens here, it's going to be early. And these guys that are fighting for a championship are going to want to try to avoid that and try to get clean through these first couple laps until the tires get warmed up and these guys get settled in here. So drama could be happening early here tonight.
Yeah, fortune favors the brave, and you have to be brave to drive around this track. Again, once you get to the mountain, it is a cattle chute. Can you technically go too wide? Yes, but if there's too wide, it's because somebody is stopped on the side of the road because their car broke or something like that. You're not going to be racing around here too wide, going up through the mountain section, and then you get all the way up to the top, and you feel like you kind of tamed the mountain a little bit, and then I mean it just comes at you even tougher as you come down through the skyline, which is, you see it on the left side of the track map there, that little squiggly line. That's not graphic issues or anything like that. That is this track. And oh, by the way, that is downhill very quick right through the little SSS section until you get to Forest Elbow, that little a little bit more than 90-degree corner there, where you head on down the long straightaway known as the Chase. But I mean, take a look at the skyline right now and the S's, and you see right there at the top of the screen, you're coming at that at a good clip, and all of a sudden you gotta turn right, dropping down, turning left, dropping down, turning right, big ol' drop into the dipper, and you see right there, I mean, you can barely see the top of the corner here coming through. This is the dipper, and then you got Forest Elbow, which is, it doesn't seem like it's that hard of a corner. You coming in there, he drops down in there, it feels like it's a little bit banking, but a lot of times it almost feels like it's off camber. And if you don't hit it right, if you don't get all the way to the inside, it's going to throw you to the outside. You're going to clip the wall, or you're going to have to let off the gas. It's going to kill you down the Conrad straight and into the Chase. It's a gauntlet. And then, I mean, you finally get down under the straight and you see way back in the distance there, you can't even see it behind the trees as Forest Elbow. This is how long the Conrad straight is, and very long. Going to be at top speeds all the way down into the Chase, which is just a little S-turn here before the end of the lap, and it's nothing too crazy, but you do need to be careful of how you're hitting those curbs. And of course, you know, if you're trying to set up a pass late in the run, heading into Murray's corner, the final corner, it can be very, very difficult. But it can be a fun track. It can be a nightmare. It's what you make of it. But you also got to worry about all those other drivers out there, and that's again why qualifying tonight is going to be very, very important. Taking a look at the standings coming into tonight, and of course, storylines. It's what we talk about every week, and we love to hear it, love to see it. Plenty over in the AM division, but starting with the Pro, Craig Jansik's lead now down to 12 points as Colin Winslow chips away again, back-to-back wins, and sneaking back into the battle. You heard the interviews last week. Craig Jansik looking forward to this race. Really a big fan of Mount Panorama here. But Colin Winslow, not exactly a slouch either, and you know, of course, trying to egg Colin on a little bit here and show him that, you know, maybe Craig is overlooking it here a little bit, and you got to go after him, go get him, and you know, stir the pot a little bit here for sure. That's what we like to do. But really a two-horse race, if any, between the drivers in the Pro class. Over in the M class, different story, Joe, as we've got a lot of drivers that are still in the mix. I mean, Jim Herrick right now leading it with 298, but if you're looking at, you know, the same 12-point difference and saying that drivers within 12 points have a chance, well, you got 5 drivers still with a chance, as Brandon Potts is only 2 points back. Another 4 points back is Antonio Avendano Diaz. Randall Ayers another 2 points back, and obviously he can certainly make a run at it. And then Christian Ortiz Torres still right in the battle, as he is only 11 points back of your leader, Jim Herrick. So, man, 3 races left, including this one here tonight. There's still a lot to play in this season.
Yeah, there is, and I think, you know, with talking about the AM class here, the results of this race is going to go a long way in who's going to decide this championship, because, you know, we talked about you want to avoid the danger, and you definitely want to be wrecked here and have to tow, and then you're just put behind all these other guys, and I think whoever can stay clean here today is going to plant their flag firmly into the ground and trying to get to this championship here for the AM class. And as far as the pros go, I mean, Colin, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, keep chipping away, whether it's 2 points here, 4 points, whatever the case may be. And we got a couple new guys here in the pro class for this race, so we'll see if maybe those guys can maybe help or hurt Colin in trying to get back into this, you know, get into this championship race here. If those guys can finish ahead of Craig and Colin can, you know, get 3 wins in a row here or something like that, you know, he can maybe chip into that lead just a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to. I mean, you got 3 races left. You got some new guys in here, and clearly with some speed, as Valdo Blanco up there in second place right now overall, and then Salvador Duran, the 2 new ones, joining the fray here tonight, and they are both right up there in the top 4. So how these drivers get through the opening lap could determine a lot here tonight, but it's not going to determine everything. You still have to get around this track for 40 minutes, and it can, you know, as soon as you think you got a hold of it, it can reach out and bite you. So you gotta be very careful, very cautious, but you also got to be very fast if you want to win here tonight. We are in the final little stage here of the championship. The last quote-unquote easy race was last week at Red Bull Ring, and seen Colin Winslow get the win, but it was not exactly easy. Craig Jansik hung with him for quite some time before he made a mistake, and then Jansik answered back with his own little mistake and allowed Colin to drive on to the win. And then over in the AM class, Randall Ayers got a well-deserved and it feels like, you know, long overdue win at this point, as he's been up there qualifying well many races and just has not got through the first maybe 5 minutes of a race well, and had to fight back because of damage that, you know, he's done to himself or that he's got caught up in the first couple laps. So we'll see if he can go back-to-back here tonight. Already looking pretty good at the top of the boards as we are finishing up with qualifying, and we will give you a rundown of the order here for Bathurst, Mount Panorama, whatever you want to call it. And it's going to start with the Pro class. And for some reason it doesn't like going that way, so we'll go with this one here. So for the Pro class, it is going to be Craig Jancic on top of the boards with a 2:03.448. Osvaldo Blanco about 0.3 of a second back in second. Colin Winslow going to start in third. Salvador Duran, Jim Dutton, your top 5. Renan De Lima, Siviani Madrigal, Herbert Pineda, Skylar Vickroy, Stefan Price are going to be your top 10. And then Brandon Powell and Dan Morera rounding out your 12-car Pro field. In the AM class, we've got, once again, Randy Ayers on top of the board, 205.13 or 193. Christian Torres, Brandon Potts, Jay Little, Jim Herrick, your top 5, and then Jason Potts and Ryan Farron round out the field. Joe, we are getting towards the back half of this season. We only got 3 races left, but man, I'm looking forward to every one of these here, and starting with this one here tonight. What do you think we're going to see? Do you think we're going to see anything crazy? Do you think we're going to see anybody, especially in the M class, try and make their move and kind of stamp their chances on a championship? A little bit smaller field here tonight, so not exactly going to just drive away from anybody points-wise.
No, and it looks like your third place in points here, Antonio Diaz, is not here tonight, so that's definitely going to shake up the top 5 in the AM class. And I think for the AM class, with Ayers and Torres, qualifying up here at the top 2, they're 4th and 5th in the points respectively, and I think this points is going to get flipped here tonight if those guys can stay up there and get good finishes here tonight. And Randy he's just, when he is on and doesn't get any kind of trouble, he's always up in the top 3, so I expect him to be there. And as far as the Pro class goes, I mean, how can you go against Craig? I mean, whether he's going to win here tonight or whatever, he's just smooth, and he's going to find a way to get it done here and just maybe try to dash any kind of hopes that Colin has here tonight, and just keep this thing out front and kind of assert his dominance, if you will, and say, hey, this is mine, and ain't nobody going to take it away from me.
We are green flag racing here at Mount Panorama as these drivers head off into Hell Corner, and great look here as the headlights still on, still early enough in the morning. And it's just a great look as they head now down into a Quarry Bend, as this is your first chance to breathe a little bit and get a last couple of gasps of air before you start heading into the gauntlet of the mountain. But good start by the field here, and Colin is up to second, but a battle into the corner there, and looks like everybody is going to make it through the first corner here. But right here, this corner, this corner right here, and for some reason I'm blanking on it right now. The cutting is just, it was always a bugaboo of mine. It was always a corner that I just could not figure out, keeping that back end under control and not spinning out. But it's one that after you drive it lap after lap after lap, you kind of get an understanding of it. But again, it's another one that you lose. You get a lapse of concentration one time and it's over. But right there at the top of the mountain there, you catch that little bit of a curb on the outside the wrong way, and it's going to snap that car right around. So we'll keep an eye on that spot right there. But heading now down through the S's into Forest Elbow, and that down to Conrad Straight for the first time, and a little bit of a incident there and a little bit of a crash as well. We'll try and take a look and see what happened here. This is with Colin Winslow heading down into Forest Elbow, and a little bit too much on the gas. Big incident there, big crash. And you see that's how quick it can happen as it backs up the field, and you see drivers dodging all around and still getting into each other. And that is Brandon Potts right there sliding back across the track. And it looks like Jim Herrick, as we have got, I mean, we're not at Talladega, are we? Because that looks like the big one.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was afraid of. Like, if there was going to be a problem, it was going to be early because of this track temperature and these cold tires. And Winslow's just trying to lift this thing back to the pits. As you can see, that left rear wheel is just sideways pretty much.
Yeah, Brandon Potts had to jump into the pits. Christian Ortiz Torres jumps into the pits. Jim Herrick jumps in the pits. So that means you're number 1 in points in the pits on lap 1. Number 2 in points in the pits on lap 1. Number 3 in points not here tonight. This is Randy Ayers and Christian Ortiz-Torres chance to get back in here, but Ortiz, that's right, Ortiz was caught up in that one too. So, I mean, Randy out there by himself at this point. And, I mean, he's only got Jay Little that seems to have made it through that little melee in second place in the AM class. Man, the mountain didn't catch him. Well, I guess the exit of the mountain caught him, and they caught a ton of drivers here tonight. Wow, rough start, but that's exactly what Craig Jancic, doesn't mind seeing here at all. I mean, of course, he loved battling with Colin Winslow the last how many races, and I'm sure wouldn't have minded this thing getting pretty close at the end. But as it stands, he's looking pretty good to maybe even lock up this championship here tonight, as we're only 3.5 minutes into this thing, and I mean, who's going to finish in the top 3 in the M class? I mean, it looks like possibly, no, even Jason Potts is in the pits. So, I mean, we got 2 drivers on the track in the M class.
How many? Wow. Only 8 made it through there? Only 8 cars total made it through that without any kind of damage?
Without any kind of damage, yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it looks like 9 cars, the top 9. Looks like they did not come into the pits. Everybody else came into the pits. Some now coming back out. Their towing is finally done. But that's going to get very interesting now as well, because they are now coming out of the pits, and it's going to be some traffic in front of Craig Jancic. It's not just going to be a walk in the park. You see him coming around Hell Corner right now, and you see right up there in the distance is the 71 of Christian Ortiz-Torres. So, in a race that we figured it's going to spread out here a little bit, but too short of a race to have any kind of traffic. Jancic's going to have to deal with some traffic here, and this is not exactly an easy track to deal with it.
No, and once he starts catching these guys, and if he catches them, in the mountain, you're pretty much behind him until you can get out of, down the mountain, and then, hoping that they don't have an issue going through the mountain if you're right behind them. So, I mean, Craig's not out of the woods yet, but, I mean, definitely in a spot where he kind of wants to be, right now, but definitely not out of harm's way, and Craig can kind of just put it on cruise control, as far as the championship goes, but, he still wants to win this race. I mean, the competitor, and, we're here to race him, and if he's got a chance to win this thing, he's going to do it.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the incident one more time, and we'll take a look on board from Jim Herrick's car here, as he was involved, kind of late in the situation here. And you see, how little, I mean, these corners are just, you see, it's just wall to wall right there. Completely blind. You see him getting in a little bit tight here. You come out of the corner, you're on the gas, and he still doesn't see the incident happening in front of him. And all of a sudden, last minute, there's the incident, and you're you're kind of along for the ride. I mean, pick your poison which way you want to go. I mean, I know Days of Thunder say go for smoke, and you're going to make it through. Well, I mean, you see right there, just revving the engine, that car is completely broken down. It's a shame. It's heartbreak for quite a few drivers here tonight on lap number 1. But hey, it's not over yet. I mean, Brandon Potts is back out there now. He's the car in 3rd place, a full 1 minute and 32 seconds behind 2nd place on lap number 4. So, 1st and 2nd may very well be locked in for Ayers and Little, but 3rd place is not. I mean, Potts has got about a 6-second lead over Torres. Then you got another pretty decent gap back to Jim Herrick there in 5th, but heck of a start here. And I mean, you hate to see it for some of the guys involved for sure, but how about Jim Little running the fastest lap of the race there for the AM class, saying that I'm not done yet, and I'm not just going to let Ayers walk away with this thing, as Randy is in 6th place overall, Jay is in 7th place overall. So both those guys were able to make it through the bit of a melee right there. Man,
good for Jay, because he had a fast car last week and had internet issues and dropped out of the race. Was able to come back, but I mean, a guy who has normally not been up front, but here the last couple of weeks has been showing some speed. So glad to see him up there, and glad to see him get through that wreck. I'd like to see if we can to go back and see what happened with Brandon. It looks like somebody, I don't know, got into him there, or what the issue was, because it looked like everybody got through there after Colin had spun, but then as they got going down the straight there, I don't know if Brandon checked up or what had really happened there.
Yeah, we'll take a look
I
at
guess
it
they
one
may
more
have
time.
checked up for Colin, possibly.
This is Brandon Potts coming through the final corners here before Horse Elbow, where everything started kicking off on the exit here, and you see just car parts, cars all over the place.
Yard sale.
Yeah, exactly. As one of our fellow commentators would say, and yeah, you gotta have to make a split-second decision and decide which way you want to go. You see the blue and white car, that is Randy Ayers, your leader here in the AM class. So they were right there involved, and you see, looks like Potts makes a quick decision to try and get out of the way, and ends up getting into, I'm not even sure who that is, but I mean, just cars all over the place and melee, and unfortunately, you see him just trying to get out of the way, trying to slide back out of the way, and you see right there Jim Herrick, hard impact into the back of Christian Ortiz Torres, sends him into Brandon Potts, and then, big impact. And I'll tell you what, that might be the angle that we want to see, and that being on was that the 831, I believe, Brandon Powell. So we'll have to take a look at that.
Dan just, what do I go? Which way do I go?
We'll take a look at that one more time. It wasn't. That's coming. That's fine. And I mean, you know, why not hop on board and see the wild ride that Brandon Powell had here, as everything looked like it was fine and dandy coming out of the corner, then all of a sudden smoke in front, and then all of a sudden he gets launched and up and over. I mean, it's funny for us to say. I'm sure Brandon Powell was not exactly happy and wasn't laughing at that situation, but yeah, welcome to the first lap at Mount Panorama.
Wow. I knew there was a chance to get spicier the first lap with these temperatures and these tires, and just coming. And we got all the way through except for the exit of the mountain, and the Talladega big one happened.
Yeah, and it just takes one car at the front of the pack to start it off, and that's exactly what happened. As you see a little switch here for second place as Duran gets around Blanco. Two new drivers here were able to make it through the melee. And they are running at second and third right now, about 7 seconds behind the leader, Craig Jansick. Taking a look over into the AM class, Randy Ayers, again, making it through nice and clean, as did Jay Little, as both those cars are nice and clean. Randy Ayers having about a 4.5 second lead right now on Jay Little. That's it. It went from a 7-car AM class field to a 2. The rest are still out there battling for third place for sure, but it's only a 2-car battle, if that, for the win here in the AM class tonight. And again, it's not over. We're only a quarter of the way through this thing. There's a lot that can still happen for sure.
Yeah, we still got a battle for the podium for those guys that were involved in that wreck. You know, the third place is still on the line there, so we can see who can battle back through here and get up into the third there. But Craig out front, just cruising, trying to get to the end of this thing without any problems. We'll see how he gets when he gets as he's approaching some lap traffic here.
This is your third place run right now. Brandon Potts, as he is about 8 seconds ahead of Christian Ortiz Torres. While looking back at Craig Jansick, yeah, we were looking at the issues right in front of him. Brandon Powell loses it right in front of him, and that's how quick it could have went wrong for Craig Jansick. Again, this thing is far from over. He's got traffic to deal with here tonight, and it's not exactly going to be easy. I mean, you get out of the mountain here, and then the cars can move to the side. You can work yourself around, but even right there, a little close on the pass there with the, I think that was the 71 there of Christian Ortiz Torres. So, I mean, he's got a little bit of a breather now before he catches up to the 25 of Brandon Potts, but he would love to see no more traffic the rest of this race. And it'll be interesting to see when he comes into the pits where he's going to file out, if that's going to put him back in traffic or not. And it could be a situation where you're kind of looking at that. You maybe decide to pit a little bit later in the race than you originally thought, just in hopes that you're not going to come back out in traffic.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going to come into play. I mean, because of that scenario right there. I mean, he still obviously wants to win this race and put a stamp on the championship, but when to pit now is the question for him, because he's got a pretty good. Oh, so we got another issue here.
Well, this was earlier for Brandon Powell, and this is how your leader Jansen caught up to the back of Brandon Powell, and stay on the back. You see, it's clearly not handling too well as Ortiz comes up behind him, and then they both got to watch coming into the dipper. But the car for the A31 team was not handling the greatest, and ends up looping on him. And luckily, he stays off to the side once he does bang off the wall. It's right here. You see
right there, yep.
Hard impact. And luckily, it kind of darts in the wall. I mean, typically you see it bounce off the wall and throw it back across the track. If it throws it across the track there, he's collecting Ortiz and he's collecting Jansen for sure. So the fact that that car kind of darted into the wall and stuck a little bit was a godsend here for the 16.
Yeah, that could have been devastating. I mean, because logic tells you that should have bounced off the wall and came right to them, but luckily for those two guys, it didn't.
So 14 minutes now into this race, and the top 7 cars have yet to come into the pits for one reason or another, we should say. That includes your top 2 drivers in the AM class, Randy Ayers and Jay Little, as Little has been slowly chipping away just a little bit here and there on Randy Ayers, but it's still out to a 5.6 second lead, so it'll take a lot of work for that Audi to catch up to the Porsches. Taking a look at the drivers out there, especially in the Pro class, a lot of them going with the Ferrari here tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. You see the card make there on the screen, and Ferrari is dominating here tonight.
I think the fact that it's
a lot of room here for Craig. I bet he's going to try to go as long as he can to try to maybe get away from these guys here behind him, because he's got 2 cars in front of him that are out there a little bit ways, and then it's nothing for the longest time. And I bet he's just going to try to run this until he absolutely needs the pit for fuel, and then just, whatever he needs to get to the end at that point, and hope that he can kind of put a gap on the rest of the field, and at least when he comes out that he's in a similar spot of where he's at right now, and not mired in any kind of lap traffic or anything like that. Because he's only avoided one little mistake from somebody else, trying to get around a lap car, and I don't think he wants to press his luck too much.
No, and like I said, he's got Brandon Potts, the next one in line here, running 3rd in the AM class, but catching up to him right now. But yeah, I think that the Ferrari being a little bit more nimble, and you kind of throw it around left and right a little bit more, going to help you get through the mountain, and it's not shy on top speed either. Makes it a nice formidable car here for tonight, as you see right here. Jansen catching up very quickly and right to the back. Brandon Potts, just got to be careful coming out of here. Got a 6-second lead. Don't want to throw it away on a silly little mistake, and is going to get around Potts here and complete the pass. But man, 16 minutes into this thing, and it's been thrown on its head on lap 1, so it's been pretty crazy here early.
I was trying to remember. I was going to go back and watch last season of here, because I remember there was, I think it was like the 30th minute or 32nd minute where it was just all calamity and outbreak of all the wrecks and issues like that. But here, for this season, it looks like it's going to be lap 1 here for these guys with the issues, and see if we can see how they fare for the rest of this race.
Yeah, I mean, it's for the Pro class, like I said, it could be all done and dusted now with Craig Jansen. As long as he can finish this thing out, he may be able to kind of claim that championship, or at least just about start etching his name on that trophy for the Pro class. But the M class, it just got so much more crazier, as Christian Ortiz Torres is the one that is in 3rd right now, as Brandon Potts back in the pits. So I'm not sure what happened there, but Brandon Potts is back in the pits right now and dropping down, so not sure if he realized he's not going to make it to the end and had to come back in, or what the case is. Maybe he had a slowdown or unsafe exit, whatever it may be. He is back in the pit lane, so that gives Torres 3rd place in the M class. So again, you look at the points coming in. 1st place, Jim Herrick. did not make it through that incident, had a big wreck, but he is now settled back into 4th, so at least it's a little bit damage control right there for the 40 team. Second place in the points, Brandon Potts is now down in 6th. Third place, Antonio Avendano Diaz, again, not in the field here tonight. And you got 4th place, Randall Ayers comes in 8 points behind Jim Herrick. And, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the points differential between positions is 2 points. So if Randy Ayers can beat Jim Herrick by 4 positions, right now he's ahead of him by 3. He's going to be tied for points, at least with Jim Herrick, and he's clearly got Brandon Potts all the way back there in 6th. Looking pretty good there as he's still in the pits, so I'm not sure what's happening for the 25 team, if he's going to call it a night or not, but crazy. I mean, the points were tight coming in, and then you even look at Christian Ortiz-Torres, who's only 3 points behind Randy Ayers. He's going to lose a little bit more to him in this race, but he's going to gain overall on Jim Herrick and Brandon Potts. So this thing is going to get very, very tight with 2 races to go. And oh, by the way, it's only Nürburgring and Suzuka, so nothing to worry about there.
No, not at all for these guys. I mean, the drama is not done by any stretch of the imagination in the AM class for sure. Because I mean, whoever comes away out of here tonight, in a good spot in points, that doesn't mean much for the last 2 races here, because anything can happen, just like what happened here tonight. So it's definitely not over for these guys who are having trouble here tonight. I mean, they're definitely going to need some help these next 2 weeks, but they're going to have to put the work in and get good finishes these last 2 races to try to get themselves back up in there.
So an incident for one of our new drivers, and the man running in 3rd place. See it bounce around a little bit. And then right behind Brandon Potts, or actually Christian Ortiz-Torres, and a little bit of a slide, but the back end of the wall right there takes off the rear wing and almost takes out another car right there going by. But he ended up entering pit lane and has fallen back quite a bit. Now back into 8th place in the Pro Class, 10th overall. So Osvaldo not having a good middle part of this race. And again, that's how quick it can happen.
Right,
and exactly, Randy doesn't want any part of this. He's just get around
just let me
very quickly. And yeah, that's got to be a scary situation there for 66. But it looks like Osvaldo maybe backed out there a little bit, or maybe Randy just having a little bit better run. We'll keep an eye on this. This is still a replay, but yeah, that was very sketchy, and even coming into the corner right there. And
oh no, Jay Little's got issues.
We've got some more drama here. Jay Little coming down.
Second.
And he was in second. Little brush of the wall there. And then loops it around and backs into the wall. But looks like the spoiler's going to stay on there.
Colin got him.
Unfortunately, yeah, Colin Winslow getting involved in that one right there. We'll take a look at it one more time here. And I don't know if he actually got into him or not. We'll take a look at that one more time. He may not have got him, but I think just, in the process of trying to avoid him, got into the wall as he stayed in the gas, stayed to the outside, and definitely a brush right there, and that probably knocked the wheel either out of place or even possibly off on that front right, and not the night that Colin Winslow wanted. He ended up jumping in the pits from there. So certainly a real good chance now that Greg Jansen is going to be your Pro Class winner here for this season. And looking to grab another win here tonight. But Randy Ayers, I mean, I'm sure breathing heavy with that little battle there with Osvaldo, but he is out there by himself right now in a little bit of a pocket. He's got the 404 damn rare behind him, but far enough back there that he can at least breathe a little bit in regards to other cars. He's still going to work his way around at this diabolical track at this point, but we're past halfway right now, and I'm sure these guys up here in the top 5 overall looking to come in here and make that one and only pit stop here tonight and get back out there. But Greg Jancic and Randy Ayers looking to walk away with victories here tonight.
And Randy, I mean, you had a chance here for back-to-back top 5 overalls. I mean, he avoided the disasters here tonight, and he's on track to possibly score himself another top 5 overall.
Yeah, and it was right in that window where Randy typically gets involved in the melees. It happened right away, and he was right in the midst of it. But for once, that Porsche found its way through. For once, the seas parted a little bit for him, and he actually made it through the wreckage and is fighting here. But yeah, I mean, how about Dan Marrera making it through the incident here, starting last in the pro class, not putting in a time, but running in 5th place overall right now. So good run here by the 404 and the 4D Racewear.com team, and definitely want to give a shout out to Jim Herrick. May not be able to talk to him after tonight's race. Maybe. I mean, he's in 4th right now, but he's got quite a bit to catch up to Christian T-Stories. But thank Jim over there at 4D Racewear, and certainly check out 4dracewear.com for the original gloves for your feet, as they're one of the primary sponsors here in the Casual Sim Racers League for their GT3 series. If you haven't done so yet, thank you for tuning in. But hit that like and subscribe, get you in touch with everything that Siren has to offer, as we've got crazy racing like this just about every night of the week, especially on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, as we've got tons of racing through the middle of the week, and it's a little bit of everything. We got NASCAR out there, we got Truck Series, we got Short Track, we got Xfinity, and we got these beautiful GT3 cars out here tonight at the Mount Panorama in Australia. So, other side of the world here, and I mean, Joe, we've been raking up our frequent flyer miles. I mean, Austria last week, Mount Panorama in Australia this week. Australia, it's easy for me to say. With tongue twister. America before that, and then we're heading off to Germany next week. Man, that's enough red eyes for me.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm going to catch my points in here pretty soon. I'm racking up quite a bit. Going to so many different countries and continents, it's been a blast.
I finished it off in Japan at Suzuka, so it's certainly been a fun season here broadcasting for these boys here at CSRL. And I want to thank the main guys behind it too, being Jim Dutton is the main head honcho here at CSRL. So if you're looking to get into some GT3 racing and kind of any skill level, I mean, they have the pro class where they're better drivers hop right into or they graduate into. And then the M class is a little bit more laid back, but still competitive. I mean, there's still some good drivers out here in the M class that you can certainly test your mettle up against. So get in touch with myself, Joe, or Jim Dutton to get you into this great league here at CSRL.
Yeah, these guys, I mean, even like you said, if you are on the fence about it and you don't know if you're going to be good or not, just don't worry about it. These boys here will help you in any way that they can. Getting around these tracks and helping you out, car selection, whatever, even if you don't know much about road racing like myself, so that's why I ask these guys, from time to time on the tracks, and any kind of info I can get from them. They're real helpful and do anything they can for you and get you out there on the track.
And they practice every week as well. So, they don't just hop right into the race. They usually have a practice on Tuesday nights for a couple hours to kind of do one last little shakedown, and that's your chance to hop in with some of the drivers here and you pick their brains a little bit. And if there's a corner or two that you can't figure out, or a car that you're trying to figure out, whatever it might be, certainly hop in here with these guys and drive around a little bit, test it out. And it's from what I know, I believe it is a free league to enter here, so it's not going to cost you anything. You just get out there and test your mettle. And I've said it before, and I said it to you, Joe. I mean, you've been an older guy pretty much your entire iRacing career, and now starting to step into the road racing a little bit. And it's a different animal. It's a different monster. It's completely, I don't want to say completely new way of thinking, but you're driving different cars, and you're driving cars with really little more downforce, and it's just a lot of new things to get used to, but you're not going to get a full understanding of it just driving around in practice. You need to get out here, you need to get some experience around other cars, because when you get into some of these like GT3 leagues, and even if you get into some of like the 12 or 24-hour events, there's a lot of cars on track, and you need to learn as much track management as you do, you know, car management and field management.
Yeah, I mean, it is a whole different world, you know, kind of, but it's just more like, more detailed. I mean, there's so many more things that go on in a road race than just an oval race. Because in most oval races, you just have 4 turns, and then, you know, cars on the track, obviously. But here, it's, you know, you could have 8 turns, you could have 40 turns, and they're all different. And then you got to figure out the track, and then once you get the track figured out, you got to figure out how to race around other guys, and then, you know, where to pass in certain situations on track. I mean, I guess it's just way more detail and trying to figure all that stuff out. And I mean, for me, the process has just been a little bit longer than obviously some of the oval stuff that I've done, but I'm having a blast. I mean, I'm really slow, but I'm having a great time and learning everything and trying to pick up as much as I can and finish races. That's like my goal this year in the GT series, is just, you know, getting finishes in and, you know, and just grow from there. And it's going to be a slow process, but hey, it's fun. So I'm having a lot of fun doing that, and just being up here in the booth and watching these guys on Wednesdays really has been helping me translate it to Thursdays, because we're kind of a week behind on them. So I kind of get a preview of the race before a week before. So that's been real helpful for me here too. So, as Jim Herrick has a little bit of issue there coming down the mountain.
Here, Jim Herrick there on the wall on the edge of the Forest Elbow. As taking a look at the battle here, this is for 3rd place in the Pro class right now. Mr. Jim Dutton has got the Ferrari right there in third place in the Pro class, but right behind him is Siviani Madrigal, involved in the other early incident here, but he's gotten back out there after he's pit stop on lap number 1 and trying to get himself up into the podium spot here, and a really good run here for Jim. It's been a lot of famine, not so much feasting here for the 83 team this season, but good to see him up here battling that Madrigal for a top 3 position. As everyone has now entered the pits, Randy Ayers was the last one to make his way in the pit lane, and he is now in and coming out of the pit lane. It's not him there, but he is exiting right there behind and getting held up there a little bit on the exit. But he's going to come out in 6th place overall, as these two are going to battle now into corner number 2. But it looks like Madrigal is going to fall back and hop in line. And it's kind of one of those things where you almost sometimes want to force the pass into turn number 2, because you know you're just going to be sitting here for literally half the track and not going to really have a chance to pass unless the guy in front of you makes a little mistake like Jim Dutton did, but did catch it right away and keep going.
Yeah, and the other reason you don't want to be behind him is if he has an issue, then you may have nowhere to go, and then boom, your race is you know, over, or you got going to have some damage. As we've seen here multiple times here tonight, I mean, it's a gauntlet to get just through the mountain. Once you get up there, you could be 3 turns behind something happening, and the elevation changes here. There's so many blind turns that I mean, unless you have a spotter, you know, watching out for you. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have a yellow flag or somebody saying caution ahead, but you don't know what it is until you can see with your own eyes, and you're not sure where to go, and you got to make a split-second decision on how to get around it. As we've seen the case with Colin.
Not too far behind these guys right here is Skylar Victor as well. It's a 3-car battle here for 3rd place. So still got some battling here as we are 31 minutes into this race. We'll have to click over to 32, so getting towards the end of this one already, but we got a lot of positions still up for grabs. Randy Ayers has got a 36, almost 37-second lead over Jay Little. So unless he makes a major mistake, he's got this thing wrapped up. And you can say the same thing for Jancic over in the Pro Division. 17.5-second lead over Southwell Duran. But this is the battle for 30, a 3rd, 4th, and 5th right there on your screen. Neck and neck, about a 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds separating 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now. So good battle hopefully all the way to the end, as we'll hop on board here with Siviani Madrigal as he takes you through the mountain part of this course. don't think there's really anything that we can do, any kind of camera angle that we can do to kind of give you justice or give the track justice and show you how tough this track is. I mean, the cockpit view is the closest you're going to get an idea of what these drivers are going through, going all the way through this mountain, and then most treacherous, difficult, high-speed S section you're probably ever going to go through. I mean, it's basically the corkscrew at Laguna Seca on steroids coming down through there.
Yeah, and you're hitting speeds from 150 almost there to down to a 55 there coming down from the mountain. I mean, and just you're flying through there, and the S's and then the elevation change is. You're just along for the ride. Just hope you can keep it in between the lines.
I mean, it's you're literally driving on a roller coaster coming down through there as you see them top out at about 170 miles per hour before you head into the final S section, the chase here. But Madrigal not letting Dutton go at all. A little bit of a fake out there into the final corner. Just giving him something to think about as he closes right back in on the back bumper of the 83. And again, looking to the inside as you're down to 6 minutes left in this race. First place in both is pretty much assured already, and maybe even second place, but third place is still up for grabs here in the Pro class. Over in the M class, it is Randy Ayers, Jay Little, Christian Ortiz-Torres, your top three. But, I mean, the points are what we're going to be looking at after this race, and looking at for the last two races for the M classes. It was tight pretty much the entire season, and it's possibly going to be the tightest it's ever been heading into the last two races. So, storylines, drama, love it.
Yeah, and on top of that, we go to Nürburgring, so it's going to be.
You saying a little bit more
drama? Through this race, and I'm already ready for race 8 to see how that unfolds. Because these drivers, the road does not get easier.
Here and get a little bit of an idea of how much you're dropping down. I mean, it literally feels like you're driving down almost like a mountain bike track coming off the mountain right there, and it feels like at times that car is pointed straight down, and it's not easy. And maybe a little bit of a brush of the wall there. And Jim Dutton is just doing everything he can to keep that 15 and Madrigal behind him and keep it on track and keep it up here in the top three and get a well-deserved interview if he can finish this thing off and get to talk to the man behind the curtain, you know, by his results instead of just talking to him about the league and, you know, the pre and post-race kind of stuff that we do with the league owners here at the beginning and end of the season. He wants to get in the booth here and talk to us because he had a great finish, and he's got a chance right now, but Madrigal is hungry and right behind him.
It's going to be interesting to see if Siviani has enough fuel here, because he did pit on lap 1. So I know they can probably go to 100% when they fill up, but I know they start with like 50% or something like that. So I'm wondering if he took enough fuel to make it to the end, because like you said, you never know when that last lap's going to be or how many laps you're going to actually do. So I wonder if he is going to have enough fuel here to make it to the end.
Herrera was having a good race until spins sideways right here in the middle of the track, and then gets absolutely T-boned by Herbert Pineda and ended up towing it back to the pits once he got out of the way. So that's going to do it for Dan Herrera's night. We got back here to the battle for third place, heading up the mountain again, and these guys get so close to the walls. And when you're in the car, you're not thinking of, well, you are thinking about it. You're worried about it every time you're making a corner, but you're so focused on what lines you need to run and how wide you can and can't get in some of these corners that it starts to become muscle memory, and you're not thinking about the walls as much. But man, I mean, watching from the outside here, I think it's scarier than it is out being in the car, Joe.
For me, 100%. But, you know, so you gotta get some walk in. I wonder how much Jim is actually looking in the mirror here. I mean, you're trying to focus on the track, but you also got to be aware of your surroundings and I mean, he's got to know that Siviani's right there, but trying not to push the car too much, especially through the mountain part, and because you don't want to make a mistake there, for one, and then you got a guy right on top of you. You try not to overdrive the car, as you know sometimes can happen with somebody right on you, and you know, kind of running you down. And Skylar Vickery is trying to run these guys back down as well. He's getting close to within 2 seconds of them. Or maybe he's just maybe laying back just in case these guys have trouble and he has time to get around it, you know?
Yeah, I think Vic would be happy with a top 5 at this point, but just running his fastest lap of the race, that last lap of the 2:04.537. So certainly not shying away from the battle, just trying to keep up with these guys, I think. As Craig Jancik's lead is up to 18.5 seconds right now, so a great job, another great drive by the 6, and I typically see him in the 3, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. But I think the numbers maybe get mixed up with the new driver there of Duran getting in the car. But this is a pretty epic battle here for 3rd, coming down to the wire. And if I'm not mistaken, I tried to hop on board there and take a look and see if we've seen Barney waving that white flag, and I did not see it. We'll hop over, see the starter cam, and again, either falling asleep on the job or did not wave that white flag yet. But we'll hop over here. Craig Jancik as he comes down the Conrad Straight one more time, and should be seeing the white flag this time by. It's going to be close here on time, as it's 39 minutes and 25 seconds right now to seeing if we're going to get the white flag this time by, or if it'll actually be 2 laps. So there should be white flag though this time by.
Yeah, we should have 1 lap here left here for Craig, and pretty much, you know, I mean, lead this thing wire to wire. Even throughout, I think it's pit stop, because I think he, like we talked about, he went late. He was one of the latest ones to pit here. Yep, there's Barney.
Across the line, and see the white flag waving there in the distance from Barney. 1 more lap to go here around Mount Panorama. We'll get you back to the battle here for 3rd place. They'll come around and take the white flag this time. So if Madrigal's got anything for Dutton, he's going to have to get it done before the mountain or after. He's not going to be able to get it done on the mountain. That's for sure, unless there's some kind of issues with 83. But Brandon Powell spinning out on that last corner. Did a good job staying off the racing line. As these 3 right here, can't forget about Skylar Vickery back there. He's certainly looking at his chops and hoping that these guys get into a little bit of a battle before the end of this thing, and maybe he can stamp his name in there. But what is happening here with Randy Ayers coming into the pits? Did he maybe not take enough fuel to make it all the way to the end? He's got a 35-second lead. We'll take a look here. Should just be a splash and dash for the 66, as long as he doesn't have any kind of issues here. But that lead is certainly getting smaller. Taking a look here, then the 196 going through the S-turn right now. So it's going to be a little bit closer, but still going to have a good lead here on Jay Little. So Randy Ayers maybe expecting this race to go 1 lap shorter. He's going to get back out there and still have about a 16-second lead, but man, good things happen to those who wait, I guess. And he's been waiting for a couple good finishes here in a row, and he'll be getting back-to-back wins. But yeah, a little bit extra drama there. Again, love it. Madrigal going to have to get a good run and exit out of Forest Elbow to try and make 1 last run here at Dutton. And pretty good exit there, but Dutton gets just as good, if not better, of an exit coming out of the corner. And it's going to be, I think, a little too late for Madrigal. Heading over to your winner. There it is. Craig Jancik taking it home. And how about the fastest lap of the race on the last lap of the race for Jancik, not letting up at all. He's going to have a 22-second lead and win over newcomer here, Salvador Duran, coming home in 2nd. But taking a look one more time at the battle here. 1 last chance. Too far back is Madrigal. How about Mr. Jim Dutton coming home in 3rd place here in the Pro class. Took him all season to get this podium, but certainly well-deserved. Madrigal going to come home in 4th place. Skylar Vickery coming home right there behind him in 5th. Randy Ayers looking to capitalize here tonight with all the other drivers in the AM class having mistakes and grab another win. And Just got a couple more corners to knock this thing out, getting a little closer to the last lap. I don't know if I'd be making any kind of crazy moves there. That was on Herbert Pineda, but he is going to get it done here. A couple more corners to go. Ortiz Torres finishing in third. Herrick going to finish in fourth. But your winner here tonight in the AM class, once again, going to be Randy Ayers, bringing it home. Jay Little going to come home in second place. Joe, the Mountain did not disappoint here tonight, and man, the exit of Forest Elbow absolutely destroyed a lot of guys' hopes, a lot of guys' dreams, and a lot of guys' cars.
Yeah, it was. I thought I was watching a Talladega race there with all that carnage coming down that straight, and not the start that everybody wanted here, you know. And I know Craig probably would have wanted to battle it out with Colin, as Colin, got the second there quickly and is right on Craig. Is, to see them, it'd have been fun to watch them two battle it out for this entire race, but Colin got loose out there coming out off the mountain and got everybody there in trouble. And as I say, the rest is history. But Craig just, I said before the race started here that I felt like Craig was going to be able, dominate this race and put a stamp on the championship run, and he did not disappoint in that factor at all here tonight.
No, I mean, if he wanted to put a stamp on this season, and it's exactly what he did here tonight. It's exactly what he needed, and could all but wrap it up here. And I don't even know if he's going to have to show up to the last couple of races. He's got a nice enough lead, but he's been dominant all season. He's built up this lead that he has, and well deserved. I mean, it's what he's done all season. I mean, this just capitalizes here and tops off with another win here tonight.
Yeah, another, as we talked about most of the season here, Randy Ayers, as long as he can avoid the calamity, he can put up a good finish and be in the top three. It's like almost a second home for him here in the CSRL, for him to be in the top three. And I mean, what a finish for Jay too. I mean, he's found something here these last couple of weeks, and the speed is there, and putting in a good finish here tonight, coming home in second, and in the AM class. I wish we could have some the points up on the updated immediately somehow, so we can see where everybody's going to be falling here. But the AM class is going to be flipped. The top five is probably going to flip here, and we're going to have probably either a tie for the points or a new points leader going into the last two races of the season here for these guys. Yeah,
it might be just enough for Jim Herrick to hold on to a 2-point lead in the AM class, but it'll be over Randy Ayers this time. And I don't think that that's what these guys here in the AM class wanted to see, is that 66 get back in the battle and get back into a chance at winning this title, because he has been arguably the fastest AM class driver here this season. Just had a ton of bad luck early on in races, and I mean, damn near had it again here tonight, getting right in the middle of the melee coming out of Forest Elbow, but was able to weave and work his way through there and grab another win here on the season. Just waiting for everybody to hop here into the waiting room, and then we'll get to the action here. But I mean, again, heck of a race here with 2 more races left on this schedule. Is it next Wednesday already, Joe? I mean, I'm ready for Nürburgring. I know these guys aren't, but I certainly am.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready. I'm definitely ready to see how these guys can. I mean, I'm just ready to. I haven't really watched a race there or even put any time on that track at all, so it's going to be a lot of new for me. But I'm excited to see how these guys can get around it. The track itself, that battle, and then you got the battle with these guys and their respective divisions and the points and everything. So, yeah, can we just fast forward to next Wednesday? Is there a fast forward button?
Exactly. All right,
Except for Saturday. We got to get through Saturday first, though.
Yeah, and while we're waiting here for the guys to get queued up here in the waiting room, just want to give a shout out to this Saturday is going to be a special event here for CRN. We did it last year, and it's back again this year, the CRN Coke 300. I know it's not maybe for some of these road guys, but it is the 87 NASCARs, the old NASCARs, at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for 300 miles, and that last season was definitely a really good one for the first, the inaugural one for the CRN Coke 300, and this is going to be the second annual. Already got a good sized field, already got some nice payouts, some nice prizes, including 40 Racewear hopping on board, the sponsors here hopping on board and helping out over there for the CRN Coke 300 as well. But if you're interested in getting in, there's still time. Friday is the last day to sign up, but get in touch with me, get in touch with Joe, or just reach out to these guys. We'll get you in to the mix here. But let's go ahead and start bringing in some of the drivers here, and we'll start with the the Pro class here tonight, and bring in Mr. Jim Dutton, as probably not the best time to be looking at his car, to hopping back here a few laps, but I mean, why not? I mean, it certainly was a crazy night here. So, Joe, why don't you go ahead and take our third place finisher here tonight in the Pro class, Mr. Jim Dutton.
How's it going?
Hey, yeah, pretty good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I'm really tired. So Madrigal, all credit to him. He kept me honest for a good 10 laps. Like, he was within 0.8 of a second for the entire time, and I just couldn't shake him. It was incredible. and this track is so hard too. I mean, you guys saw the wreck at the beginning, obviously. Like that was messy.
Did something happen?
A little bit of something happened, yeah.
We'll have to go back and watch that. I don't think we caught it.
Yeah. No. So I had to pick which end of Colin's car to hit as I turned around the corner, because I was hitting something. So I just went front end, and luckily enough, my steering was mostly straight for the next few laps until I pitted. So, it was good. It was good. I'm so glad to be able to talk to you guys after a race finally. Like,
yeah, that's what Carl was saying. It was your first time up here. We've talked to you before, before races and stuff like that, but never at a post race for a podium finish. So glad to see you up here, and
very, very glad to be here. Like the competition at the sharp end of this is so stout, and I'm not classically very good at this track either. So it's really nice. I'm very happy. So. But yeah, how was the race to comment on? That must have been a lot of fun for you guys, eh?
Oh yeah, we took like 3 breaths, and then the rest of the time was just talking about all the action that was going on the track. I mean, everywhere we looked, there was something going on, and I mean, obviously there was a lot to go over after the first lap, because we had to go back and watch several angles and see what everybody, driver's view and all that, and kind of see what happened, because Colin had his issue there at the beginning of it, and then he was kind of slow getting on the straightaway, and it just kind of bottled everybody else up, and it just kind of there was nowhere to go for a lot of those guys, and just into some things that you can't really predict there. But it was we had to go back and watch several angles of it and everything. So it was even though you got involved, you were still able to drive it like for a couple laps and get your fast repair, and able to still come away with a 3rd place finish here tonight.
Yeah, I'm very happy that we have that fast repair. it's
the field.
Yeah, like there are a few of us that are in a chat during the race, which I mean kind of breaks the simulation vibe a little bit, but like some of them were saying 6 or 7 people got towed in after that incident or something like that. Like that's nuts.
Yeah, so, I think what we say 7 or 8 actually made it through.
Yeah, I think 9 drivers in the field that made it through lap 1 without having to pit.
Wow. That's quite the stat.
It was the Talladega big one at Mount Panorama is what it was.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised it happened here, and I'm happy with the turnout that we had tonight too, because this is a very tough track, and it kind of scares a lot of people off. I think next week at Nürburgring we'll see that as well. Yeah. Anyway, no, it was a roller coaster of a race for sure, and I'm so glad that I finally get to talk to you guys after a race. This is so exciting.
In the pre-race, I was talking about the track temperature here was really low, and you got to get some heat in these tires. And I kind of predicted if anything was going to happen, it would be in the first lap or 2, because especially up in the mountain, where you lose any kind of traction and you're gone. And then if one car is gone, and if it's up at the front of the field or in the middle of the field, the big one could happen. And that's exactly what we've seen. Yep. Was that on a lot of the guys' minds, or was that just? What was the vibe like? In practice last night and in practice here.
So I actually went over it in the drivers' meeting, just telling everybody to give each other as much room as you can for the first couple laps until everything warms up. I set up all the weather and everything, right? And I made it static for this race. I wanted, the weather to be cool and relatively dry and overcast so that the cars could go as quickly as possible and have as much grip as possible once the tires warmed up. Just to have a predictable track, right? But unfortunately, not everybody got the memo about letting their tires warm up, I guess. I shouldn't say that. I need to see the replay as well. Doing a first lap in course corners coming down the mountain there is really tough to do. So
yeah, I think Colin got to second there, and I think that's what where he wanted to be and try to be behind Craig and put some pressure on Craig. And I think he just got into the gas just a little bit too early, coming off that last turn there off the mountain. And and it just around he went and just tried to save face at that point, and then he was still going, and then he was just so slow, and everybody at that point, they're coming out of that turn and trying to get as much speed as they can, and it was just kind of a domino, effect, and not much for everybody to go.
Force elbow being force elbow, just either nail it or you're loose or you're tight. There's no fourth option, and you just have to lose end of it.
Sure, absolutely. What a roller coaster of a track, though. I mean, I believe it's the track that sports the biggest elevation change in the world, in real life too. So real fun track to drive up and down for sure.
Well, congrats on the third place finish there, Mr. Jim. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Everybody in the league and you guys. You guys make this all possible. Thank you so much for hanging around our pokey little league here. It's been a blast. I'm so glad that I've been able to do this. Thank you.
Oh, we're having probably more fun than you guys. I'll tell you what, the action you guys put on the track and the drama that we love to see, and we are already ready for next Wednesday. So put them boards out for a good track, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Yep.
As your third place finisher here tonight in the pro class, the 83 of Jim Dutton. It's like second place, Salvador Duran, not going to be joining us here tonight, but your winner is going to, and that is going to be the 6 of Craig Jancic. And Craig, I know you were looking forward to this race. You said you're a fan of Mount Panorama. Not too many people are, but you said you were looking forward to this one and wanted to try and kind of stamp your championship run. I know you're probably happy that it's just about locked up and over heading into the Nürburgring, but I know part of you is probably wishing that Colin was still out there battling with you. But walk us through the first lap here at Mount Panorama. How difficult is it? How much nerves are involved?
There's so many nerves involved, precisely in the first half of the lap, when your tires don't really have it yet, and you're really just kind of relying on what your hands expect to feel. More than what's really, going on there. So that makes it really, really challenging for the first, I would say all the way right up to the top of the mountain was still building temp, building trust, all of those things in the tires. You're absolutely right, man. I really do honestly wish that Colin was able to keep it together. And we could have probably fought really, really closely. He found a lot of speed in the practice session pre-race. In fact, he won the practice session pre-race, albeit by, just a couple of thousandths of a second. But, he was right there, and we would have had a hell of a lot of fun for those 40 minutes for sure. And Salvador and Osvaldo were also very, very quick. And if there were, if chaos didn't ensue at Forest Elbow, who really knows, how this race goes. Once I saw that all that happen, I really did kind of put it into Sunday drive mode a little bit for a good stretch of laps there. And, just kind of enjoyed the beautiful scenery down the mountain. I love this place, like you said, and I was looking forward to this, and I'm really glad we were able to lead pretty much flag to flag. Well, actually, flag to flag completely here. It's a good feeling, man, for sure.
Yeah, you were the only car in front of the melee on lap number one as it literally happened right behind you, but you weren't out of the dark just yet, and you probably figured coming in here if you can get out to the lead and you can get a good jump, all you'll have to do is just worry about keeping everybody behind you. You're not going to have to deal with any traffic. Well, with the big melee, you had to deal with a little bit of traffic here tonight, and had a very close moment there with Brandon Powell in the dipper. And luckily for you, his car ended up kind of darting into the wall and sticking a little bit instead of banging off and shooting right back across in front of you and Ortiz Torres. So, I mean, talk about the nerves at that point.
The nerves were really high, but honestly, man, not even there, because for some reason cars seem to stick when you're going downhill. They can get pretty pinball-y, yeah, for sure. But when you're going downhill, they really seem to stick what they hit. So I had a pretty high degree of trust that he was going to cling along that right side wall, specifically in that sector. I was more terrified when crew chief, when we were still going up the mountain, and crew chief says, there's a slow car ahead. The brake pedal really, really sucks. The way that the both sides of the hill going up are a little bit off camber. And I had a right front on the right side of the down camber, and I had the rest of the car on the left side. So at the moment I touched the brake pedal, I skewed it to probably about a good 1130, and it wasn't good. And it was a scary moment. We were going slow enough that it would have been just a spin, but I mean, I think I only had 6 seconds on Salvador at that point. And that was the hairiest part of the race for sure. And then just having the traffic in the first place, there's nowhere to hide here. So we were in a bad position, really, no matter how you spelled it there. But I was relieved that everything got moving, and aside from that one really big moment, that was the only actual super scare of the evening.
So does this kind of let you breathe, let your hair down a little bit going into Nürburgring next week, knowing that you can kind of go after it a little bit, and you can go after the win and not have to worry too much about points, as it should just be all but locked up heading into the last 2 races.
Yeah, it does feel like it's just about all but locked up heading into the last 2 races, and honestly, if you include this week, the last 3 races are really 3 of my most fun tracks in my mind. And I feel like, just based on having casual conversations with a lot of the group, I seem to be one of the only people that has the Nordschleife memorized even. So I think that puts us in a good spot right off the rip. And honestly, we're just going to take a Porsche out there and have a damn good time. And whatever happens. It really is no skin off me. It doesn't seem like we're going to have a huge issue keeping the championship locked up. So yeah, we're gonna push hard, and it should be a pretty fun time. I think we're doing open qualifying for the whole warm up next week, so we'll have an hour of open qualifying to lead up to it, just because even if we did our normal qualifying 10 minutes, we'd only barely get 1 lap in, because the qualifying lap's going to be, I think, 8:10 or so, if you base it off of the world record from the actual 24 hours of Nürburgring qualifying. So you barely have time to get that done. And I think we're just going to opt for the fun route of having the whole hour of open quali and just let it rip.
Just go at it. I like it. Yeah, I mean, just when we thought you were having your chance at a Sunday drive here tonight, you go and turn the fastest lap of the race on the last lap. So he's certainly still going at it, and we like to see it, and it didn't leave anything out there. Grabbing another win here on the season, most likely grabbing the championship as well. So congrats on the success tonight and throughout the season so far. But we got 2 more to go. See if you can grab 1 or 2 more wins. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, huge thanks to you guys, Core Racing Network. You guys are the best. Thank you for what you do. And thanks to your viewers as well, and everybody here that keeps CSRL afloat. Congrats to Jim on the podium. Really, really long-earned podium, or long-awaited podium that he's earned for sure. Agreed. And I'm happy for him. And congrats to the AM class as well. I think Jay and Jay and Stefan, they got their time on the podium here today too, which is great. And thanks to everybody that supports me. Not to go through the whole list, but I really appreciate everybody that is on my cars and keeps my racing stuff afloat too. And I hope you guys have a really good week upcoming and enjoy what I know is always a good show. I can't wait to watch lap 1 back on this broadcast, man. That should be fun.
There was quite a few views of it, and we watched on
I hear there
board
was
from a
some
couple
rolling
people.
too.
There was one.
There was a torpedo at one point too. So
Excellent.
we won't no spoiler alerts. We'll let you go watch that. But congrats on the win here tonight. We'll see you next week in Germany.
Cheers, guys. See ya.
That is your winner here tonight in the Pro Class of 6 of Craig Jancic. We'll switch over now to the AM Class, and going to start off with Stefan Price. He was actually the one that was in third. It was mislabeled here in the show here. So he is your third place finisher here, ahead of Christian Ortiz Torres in at the AM Class. So Joe, why don't you go ahead and take the 198 of Stefan Price?
Hey there, Stefan. You got a copy? Stefan, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. Hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Hey, you got a third place finish here tonight at the mountain. Talk me through your race there.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. First podium for me, I guess. So, wild race. I got into the big incident on lap 1, I guess. So, kind of dumb luck on the podium, kind of, because I went in for repairs and then didn't have to pit because of that. So I just went out and made some consistent laps, tried to stay out of trouble.
Yeah. Did you just fill up there and because I think you start with like 50% fuel and then if you pit, you can just put as much as you want in. Was that like you were just going to do that and get your pit over with and just kind of see what happens there towards the end?
Yeah, I just let it auto fuel, and of course it took tires too, but so it auto fueled, so it took enough fuel to make the whole race.
So, how is it for you to get through? Is this? I mean, it's probably not too many people's favorite track, but how is it for you to get through here, get through this track?
To get through the race?
Yeah, like I mean,
Yeah.
is this one of your favorite tracks, or is this like you just don't even?
I don't know if it's a favorite track. It's a fun track, but it's infuriating when you mess up. Any kind of mistake, of course, it costs time or tears the car up. So. If you can stay out of trouble, it's a fun track. It's challenging for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of two tracks in one. You got the regular course down at the bottom, and then you try to get through the mountain, and it's just kind of a blender as we've seen here tonight multiple times, and especially there on lap 1 with the major pile up and everything. But
yeah,
just we had some other issues from other people, throughout the race, and guys, could be 3 turns behind up on the mountain and a turn, an incident up ahead, and you just don't even know what's happening because of the elevation changes, and it's really unpredictable what could happen here.
Right. And I don't know if people took tires today or not, but with my strategy, without even having a brake on the tires to cool down, I was really feeling the tires towards the end of the race.
Yeah,
they were giving up.
Well, congrats on the third place finish here tonight. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Oh, just you guys, you do a great job, and of course all the admins that run this league are doing a great job, and everybody in the league that races. It's a real joy to race with these guys every week.
You guys keep putting on good shows every week, and I know me, Carl, up here having a blast. So we're ready for next week already. So we'll see you at the Nürburgring, and we'll let you get out of here and celebrate.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yep.
As your third place finisher here in the AM Class, the 198 of Stefan Price. Second place is going to be another one that's kind of long overdue, and that being Jay Little in the 196 in second. Jay, obviously a little bit of a rough race here for a lot of drivers, and you being one of them that were able to kind of sneak through a little bit, and we're sticking with Randy for quite some time, but all in all, you come home in second place. Do you feel like it's good? Are you happy with the second? Are you happy that you just survived this night here tonight?
Actually, I'm pretty surprised I came in second. Felt super lucky to make my way through that huge wreck on lap 1. And from that point, I just decided to try to settle in and maintain.
So tell me what it's like driving around this track. I mean, I've got some laps in here. Joe does as well. But I mean, what is it like out here with the class of drivers that you're out here with, and you know, the fact that this track is basically a cattle chute all the way up through the mountain, and everything is just so blind coming around these corners.
Well, I've had a lot of practice here in other cars. I used to hate this track, and now I'm kind of like it. It's strange. Good group of drivers here. I love racing with them. My first time in the Audi here.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of drivers were opting for the Ferrari here tonight, and a few going with the Audi. So I mean, what kind of went into your choice for the Audi here tonight? Was it one that just felt like it was a good mixture of the car that rotates well through the mountain and got a good enough speed for the straightaways?
Yeah, well, last week I had a computer issue, so I was in the Audi. We're in the rain. It actually felt pretty nice. And I figured, well, it must feel even better in the dry, so I'll just stick with it. And I have to say, besides the Porsche, I think this is now my favorite car.
There you go. So sometimes it's a lot of feel. I know a lot of guys will look at different cars for different tracks, and you know, this car suits this track, or this is the one that's dominant here. But more often than not, you know, at least for me, I kind of like to get settled into a car, and that's the one that I like to run for, you know, maybe a whole season, or you know, for a few races back to back, just to get a full understanding of that car and what it can and can't do. Well,
The last time we were here, I drove the BMW and quickly figured out that probably wasn't the best choice.
No, it's not as boaty as the Mercedes, but it kind of feels like it sometimes. So yeah, maybe not the best choice for the track here tonight, but like I said, you come away with a good second place here tonight, and I mean, I one of the survivors, I should say. I mean, there's a lot of guys that had some issues here tonight, and actually taking a look at one of your issues here in the dipper as you got sideways. So I mean, you're sitting there just out of the dipper, and you know, we just got done saying how blind some of these corners are. What were the thoughts going through your head? Was it just, let me get out of this situation? I'm in second. I just want to get a second here. Nobody hit me, please.
Ooh.
Oh, I could kick myself on that because I don't know why. I actually downshifted one more time than I meant to, so rear end got loose. And at that point, it's like, ooh, I think I got enough time. I can maybe maneuver out of the way. No one hit me and be back on my way. So thankfully, that's what happened.
You got clipped a little bit by, I think it was 144.
Colin.
Yeah, of Colin heading through the corner there. But other than that, you were able to back up and didn't take any damage and drove away, got your second place. So congrats on the podium here tonight. Certainly well deserved, and probably should have been back to back if you didn't have the computer issues after last week. But we get to at least talk to you this week and give you a chance to give any shout outs or thanks you may have.
Yeah. Actually, I want to shout out to you guys for doing a good job week after week after week. Also gives me something to do at work the next day. So
you're welcome. Absolutely, and you're not the only one. Trust me, we get that a lot. So
yeah,
congrats on the finish here tonight. We'll see you next week at Nürburgring.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you next week.
That is your second place finisher in the M class, the 196 of Jay Little. Finally, we will come to our race winner here in the M class, and the calamity happened right around him once again, right in the beginning of the race. He was able to sneak through. Joe, your winner here tonight in the M class, the 66, Randy Ayers.
Randy, how did you get through all that in lap one?
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? Well, you know, it's sometimes better to be lucky than skillful, and I was definitely lucky there. So, and once I got through, it was I looked at the relative and saw Jay made it out behind me, and then there was a big gap. So I felt, you know, all I need to really do is just maintain this gap, and I think I'll be okay.
At that point, did you realize how many cars were involved, or did you know how much damage was done, how much carnage was behind you?
I saw 3 or 4 cars in front of me, and I think 1 or 2 got going, and I passed one down the straight who was involved in it. But I didn't realize behind me what had taken place, no.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure if you haven't yet, you'll go back and watch and see how many cars were actually involved there. And I mean, I think we said only 9 cars got through there. Through lap 1 without any kind of problems at all. So. And at that point, and then you realize how much of a lead you had on Jay. I mean, were you just kind of in cruise control and just kind of maybe push or back off your speed and your pace just a little bit?
Yeah, I just I stuck to the couple cars in front of me, and I just drove my race, and I just decided this is really working out well for me here, so I'm just going to do the old wash, rinse, repeat, lap after lap for 17 laps and see how it works out. Turned out okay. Except we had a little problem at the end when I apparently underfueled, and I had to come in on the last lap to grab some
fuel. We've seen that, and we were wondering because Jay was, I want to say, like 20 or 30 seconds behind you at that point, and
I looked up and he was 38 seconds behind.
Okay, yeah, 38 seconds, yeah, and
yeah.
We were like, well, he's just gonna take a splash and go, but we were gonna see how close he could have got to
little
you.
Drama.
But
little drama.
Just a little bit of drama there at the end.
Gotta throw a little drama in there, don't I?
Yeah. Well, you come in fourth place in points, and come away with a win here, and that's definitely gonna flip the point standings up, and we'll see what happens there with all that. But you're gonna close the gap on Mr. Jim Herrick, and we got 2 more races to go. And we talked about like avoiding any kind of problems or incidents, and the Nürburgring is going to definitely be a place for you don't want to have any kind of trouble. What's going to be the mindset getting into these last 2 races?
Yeah, same thing. Just stay clean, stay out of trouble. Try and qualify as high up as I can, and leave the trouble behind me, so to speak, if I can. But yeah, Nürburgring is one of those tough tracks where you can't see around the corners. Similar to this, the first lap incident at Forest Elbow, my crew chief was yelling, "Okay, you see it? It's in front of you." Of course, I haven't come around the corner yet, so all I see is a wall in front of me. As soon as I came around the corner, I was. But it did prepare me, so it gave me that. So, but yeah, Nürburgring, same thing. Just stay clean. That's the key, I think.
Well, as long as you can stay out of trouble, you're going to be in that discussion for the win, or at the very least the top 3. That's kind of, I said during the broadcast, your second home here. So you always find a way to be, talking to us after the race. So I'm sure if you can avoid any kind of damage or any kind of, melee next week, we'll probably be talking to you again. So before we let you go and go celebrate this win, anybody want to get a shout out to?
My girlfriend Tracy, thanks for supporting me in this. Her son works for Elgato, supplies me with some really cool Elgato and Corsair gear. So shout out to those guys, and Elgato, Corsair, great stuff, by the way. And you guys, obviously, for putting this on, and the Casual Sim Racing League for, administrating all us goofballs out there doing this. So.
All righty, we'll let you go celebrate, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Talk to you guys later.
All right.
That is your winner here tonight in the AM class, the 66 of Randy Ayers. Another win for him, another notch on the belt, and certainly up in the mix for the championship now. I mean, he was, right there, somewhat close, somewhat in the mix of everything, but with everything that happened to not just the AM drivers, everybody out here tonight. I think maybe Greg was the only one that really got away scot-free. Everybody else was either slowed up, banged up, barrel rolling, flipping through the air. Something happened to just about everybody in the field other than Greg out here tonight. So yeah, it was one that it was certainly survive lap 1 and then head down, and that's exactly what a lot of these drivers did, especially Randy Ayers out here grabbing the win. But no rest for the weary. Next week, 16.1 miles. That is the length of one lap for the Nürburgring, and it comes at you left and right, up and down. It doesn't matter what you think you can do in a car. This track will best the best of them, and it is a very difficult Very difficult track. I believe it's 151 corners. I could be wrong. Check me if I am. But I mean, you thought this one was bad. I mean, Bathurst at least has half of their track being, kind of straights and 90-degree corners. You got the long straightaway at Nürburgring. That's about it. The other 90% of the track is basically Bathurst back to back to back to back to back. So, I mean, it's a gauntlet. If you've never seen it, you've never been there, you never driven on it, tune in next week. That's all I can say. You thought this one was going to be a good one?
Seems like it's going to be a cross-country event next week. I mean, that doesn't even seem real. I mean, it's not even like a lap. I don't know how it's just like a cross-country event. It's like the I can't remember what's that race where they do a cross-country
rally,
like a
rally race. Yeah.
That's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, it's gonna be interesting for me because I've never been there, never been on track, so it's gonna be a lot of new for me and a lot of learning. I don't even know how you even began to memorize that track. I don't know how Craig has that track down and memorized. I mean, I guess it's possible, but it's wow.
You got a week. It's only 150 corners. You got a week. Plenty of time. I mean, my son's learning his times tables right now. I'm sure you could pick up 150 corners by the end of next week. But yeah,
I don't even think I can get my times table by next week, Carl.
We'll teach you times as well. All right, sounds good. But yeah, gonna be
is there gonna be a quiz next week? Because it's just mail it in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it'll just be where can these drivers kill their cars, and it'll just be all the above. That's what it's gonna be. But yeah, it'll be a fun one, and you'll definitely see some of the drivers that have experience at Nürburgring rise to the top. But I mean, I guess if there's any bit of hope, any bit of glimmer, any bit of bright light when it comes to Nürburgring, it's pretty much going to be 5 laps to go when we drop the green flag. So, I mean, you're not going to have to go around Nürburgring too many times because it's so long. It is over an 8-minute lap time. I mean, tonight was a pretty long race, and these guys were getting around here in 2 minutes time. So, times that by 4, 8 minutes for one lap. It is really, truly a beast. And the drivers will only be able to get 4 or 5 laps in before the end of the race in this 40-minute race. But again, tune in next week. That's all we can say. It's going to be a good one for sure. This one was a good one here tonight, pretty much crowning our Pro Division champion, Craig Jancic. Not so much in the AM class. It is on its head. It is mixed up. I mean, just toss the names in a hat, pick one out. That's who may be leading after next week. Maybe a completely different person winning the championship at the end of the season. So it's great drama. It's great racing, and it's CSRL at its finest. I love it. I've been having a blast here. Thank you to Jim and all the other admins bringing us on. And Joe, I know you're having a blast here as well, but we're going to have to wait one more week to head off to Nürburgring and get your bags packed, as we got a long flight again heading over to Germany. But for myself here and Joe at CRN and Mount Panorama, we'll see you at the track.